Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be telling you about my labour experience, and yeah, I'm just going to get straight into it. So my labour experience started on the 19th of February, and that was a Friday, and I went in at 5 p.m. So when I got in, we got tested for corona and tested negative for it. So they put us in a room, and then I had to have like this other test that takes like 24 hours. That came back negative. We got into this room, so me and my sister, we got into this room, and basically we didn't set anything up. I set my tripod up at the side, and then we just like got welcomed in. Like the midwives came and saw us, doctors came and saw us, and then the staff on the ward came around and saw us. We had dinner, we had hot chocolate, I think it was, and tea, or both hot chocolate. And then we had like time to talk about the induction. I had a look at the new balloon method, and that's what I went with, and that's a 24-hour procedure. So they'll put like this cannula thing in, and then they'll fill it up with water, and it turns into like a balloon, and it dilates you on its own without any hormones or any drips or medication or anything like that. And it just like softens your cervix and dilates you slowly. And as soon as I put it in, I was fine. And then I'd say about half an hour later, I started having contractions, and they said they would have had to take it out if I was still in a lot of pain within, like, I think it was another half an hour or something. But I managed to lay on the bed, get comfortable and fall asleep, so it weren't too bad. I managed to go to sleep the whole night, and then the next day I didn't have any contractions. I had a bit of like, well, I did have contractions, but they weren't as bad as what they were when they put it in, and it weren't as quick and as frequent as you would do when you are actually in labour. So I had that, and it wasn't able to come out of me till 8:45 on Saturday. And when it came out, I was 3 to 4 centimetres dilated, and I was dilated enough to have my waters burst. The delivery suite wasn't available for me at the time because it was all like booked up with people that were already giving birth. So I weren't able to go down and actually have her Saturday night, Sunday early morning. And then I fell asleep, and I was alright, but I felt really ill that night, and I started being really sick, and I fell asleep. In the morning they woke me up, and I didn't even have time to actually wake up or anything properly, because as soon as I did like kind of give them an acknowledgement that I was awake, it was, you need to go straight down to the delivery suite. So I was like, okay. So I went down there, then I waited for my sister to get there, which wasn't too long. It was about another 10 minutes, I think it was, that I waited. She came in, and then as soon as she came in, I met the midwife and the student midwife, so Charlotte and Sarah, and they were really lovely. They honestly made me feel really happy throughout my labour, and then they talked me through it. They popped my waters, and after my waters it was about half an hour, and the contractions started. Now the contractions started, I was on the floor most of it, and I was rolling around, I was screaming in pain, I was on gas and air. I kept saying to them after they broke my water, please give me the paracetamol and codeine straight away, because honestly, I feel like if they gave me that early on, I would have been fine. I would have like dealt with it a lot easier. And then it was only when it got really bad that I was basically screaming for paracetamol and codeine, which they weren't really saying that was going to do a lot for me, but I wasn't having the epidural, and I weren't like wanting to have a C-section. I wanted to do it natural, but I didn't want like to be drugged up and not be able to feel my legs or anything like that. So they gave me the codeine, they gave me the paracetamol, and then they gave me I think Pethidine, and I was already on the gas and air before I had any of them. Her heart wasn't being read on the monitor, so they had to clip something to her head, and that managed to read her heart. And then I had to have someone holding the other cable thingy on me because it wasn't picking up my contractions. But every time I did get contractions, the straps were too tight on me, and the person who was holding it, it felt like she was stabbing me because it hurt so much. And most of the time I had my eyes closed because I was in that much pain, and I felt really tired and I just didn't want to look at anyone. And then when I did stand up, I felt absolutely awful. I don't know, I couldn't stand up, I couldn't crouch. When I did crouch, I was on like all fours trying to ease the pain, and it went on for about 8 hours. I was sick in like loads of bowls. I had to have like 6 bowls around me all at once because I'd be sick in one bowl, not realise that bowl was still next to me, and I'd go on to another bowl, so it was better to have multiple bowls around me than at all. Apparently I was bleeding and my waters just kept going, and I don't know, it's just, it is something that I don't remember much of. I just remember being in a lot of pain and just like my eyes were closed most of the time, so I felt like I was asleep most of the time, just asleep in pain. And then just as she was coming, because I could feel her like head falling down, I could feel her like my body wanting me to push her out. They were like, get on the bed, you need to get on the bed. So I stood up and I managed to get on the bed within a few seconds of me standing up, because I feel like if I didn't, I probably would have either dropped to the floor because I felt really awful when I stood up, or I just would have been in so much pain. I think it took me about 3 times to actually get on the bed, but once I was on the bed I felt a lot better. And then just as I got on the bed, it was good that I did when I did get on there at the right time, because just as I got on the bed, my body started pushing. She was basically on her way out. They kept telling me to grab my legs and hold them up and push. They kept telling me to push with my contractions, told me to breathe, told me I'm doing really well. And on my very last final push, or 2 pushes, when she actually did pop out, I took, I think it was like a minute to take as much gas and air as possible, because with me doing that, I managed to push her out without being in pain. I was screaming, but I weren't like in physical pain, and obviously the epidural would have numbed me and I probably would have tore and needed stitches, whereas when I done it the way I did it, it was like a graze, like when you fall over and graze your knee, it was like that. So I didn't need no stitches, I just had to, basically got told to part myself every day and keep it clean. So that's what I've ended up doing. I've had a bath every day for the first week, and now I'm just easing off the baths and everything because I'm healed. When she was in my arms, it was magical, it was amazing and definitely worth it. But I was, as soon as she came out, I weren't physically up for looking at her, I weren't physically up for holding her or anything like that. And it's not because I didn't want to, it's just I felt absolutely awful, I felt tired, I was exhausted, I felt really sick. And when like I managed to actually wake up properly, it's when they put her in my arms. I looked at her and I was just like, this is it. And I don't know if I cried actually when holding her but she was the most precious thing in that moment of time. And I got to cut the cord, and we got to stay in the room, I think for like an hour and a half, 2 hours after I had her. And then I got moved back onto the ward, and then the next day she had her checks, I had a bath to part myself and to just get clean because I felt awful. I wanted to give her a bath, but I was really scared of like dropping her, or like water getting onto like her face or anything like that, because they weren't like bathing, like no one was willing to bath her with me at the hospital. Like they just showed me in the cot that she was sleeping in, which was next to my bed, and that was no water or anything, so I didn't actually get to know how to bath her properly. So when I came home, me and my sister bathed her and I felt a lot better. She was then clean, like properly clean, and we've just ended up, like, she's had a few baths now. I've had a bath every day. We've just managed to bond really nicely. I've recovered really well. She's recovered and is becoming more alert now with being like in the world. And I would go for the experience again. I wouldn't get the epidural, and only if it was emergency I would have a C-section, but with me not needing a C-section I would definitely go through natural again. But whatever happens, if I end up having another child, I definitely won't go for an epidural, and I will definitely stick with that. But other than that, I'm happy with how the labour turned out. I'm happy that she's here and she's safe and there's nothing wrong with her. And everyone's experience is different, but I did feel like my experience was pretty good. I would definitely do it again. Just hopefully next time I won't be so tired. But even if I am, I feel like it was a great delivery and she's here, and that's all that matters. I hope you like this video. If you've got any video recommendations or any questions, just leave them down below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys! Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I think sometime last week I asked you guys to ask me some Q&A questions that are pregnancy related for this video. So I wrote them down because they are on my phone and that's why